In June of 2020, hiker Courtney Henderson and her best friend Gavin Caruso started out on what they thought was going to be an ordinary hike.
Not a cloud in the sky. We checked the weather. Wasn't supposed to rain. Wasn't supposed to storm.
However, things quickly turned for the worse.
All of a sudden, dark clouds rolled in. We're kind of stuck up there.
Knowing how dangerous it would be to climb down, they called 911 for help.
My name is Gavin Caruso. Tried for a good hour to try to get up or down, and we can't. And it's starting to get cold, and it's raining. And that's made like the rock really slippery, so like we can't get down.
The 911 dispatcher instructed them to get lower on the mountainside to make it easier for search and rescue. But then they fell.
Okay, ma'am, I need you to take a deep breath. No, my friend, he's unconscious. I'm bleeding. It's an emergency. Okay, what happened? We fell down the mountain.
The following is my in-studio interview with Courtney Henderson, where she shares her amazing yet tragic story of how she fell and made it out alive. Dude, Courtney, thanks for being here. Your story is amazing.
Yeah.
And when I was reading about it, I couldn't believe what had happened, and I think I just want you to tell me what happened in your words, because what I read and I think what you've got to say are totally different.
All the stories. There's more to a story than what the news likes to put out.
Yeah.
Super excited to be here and tell my story. Love telling my story, to be honest. So I was with my best friend. I call him my person. We were together more often than we weren't. If it was a holiday, that was pretty much the only time we were not hanging out. And so COVID hit. We decided, hey, flights are cheap. Let's go do a little bit of exploring. So we went to Miami. Then we shot over to LA for his birthday in May. And then right around Father's Day, he was like, I want to go surprise my dad in Denver for Father's Day.
Were you into hiking prior to this?
I was into hiking. I just hadn't really ever gone that much, other than like our little silly forest preserves down in Illinois. I've really always been into it, camping and all that other stuff. We were just like, oh, we're over by the mountains. Let's go on a couple hikes. So we found Bear Peak, El Dorado Canyon. I think that's how they kind of say it out there, to put in location. I've heard it called multiple things, so that's what I'm just gonna call it. And it was gonna be an 8-mile, so 4 in, 4 out.
So did you have a map?
So we were following with all trails. The first part is pretty easy, so it's like all gravel for the first part. Just to kind of give you an idea of the easiness of the trail, or the rate of the trail. There were even horse signs, so you were able to take horses up to a certain point until it started getting a little more rocky, and just switchback after switchback on an actual dirt trail at some point. That day was beautiful, not a cloud in the sky. We checked the weather multiple times. Wasn't supposed to rain, wasn't supposed to storm. We're enjoying the hike, going up there, and I kept making sure, hey, we're still on trail, because he was the one that had the trail map, and I was the one that was keeping my battery, just in case anything happened.
Did you have it downloaded too, or?
I had all trails, and I had it with me, but we were doing he uses it so that he drains that battery, but we still have my phone.
Yeah.
So there was a couple times where I was like, hey man, this kind of looks off trail, and he was like, yeah, no, we're on trail, and he would show me. We had a lot of service, actually, surprisingly. I think I lost service once on one switch.
Yeah, that's pretty rare out there.
Oh yeah, pretty rare, but texts were coming through, my snaps for my story were loading and all that stuff, so I knew it wasn't a connection issue really, and we were on trail. That's what I would assume, since that's what it was showing, and that's where we were thinking we were, according to obviously the trees, or the trailhead posts, the markers that people have put there. All of a sudden, dark clouds rolled in. We're kind of stuck up there. After we scrambled, it had started sprinkling, there had been no thunder or anything. So we were like, it's just some sprinkles since that's what happens, it's weather.
Yeah.
It'll come by and we'll be good, and then it started to really rain. And then the Front Range is all flat irons. So once those get wet, it's black ice, essentially.
Were you scrambling up? Like, were you like hands and knees kind of thing?
No, we were just walking up.
Okay.
Like,
so the trail, it was still more of a trail.
it was
All
still
right.
more of a trail.
All
That's why I was under the assumption we were on the trail, and he was under the assumption we were on the
Okay.
trail, and our map showed we were on the trail,
Okay.
so
We're on the trail.
we're
yeah.
on the
yeah.
trail.
Yeah.
So storm came through, and we kind of like, hey, we can't really get up, because it ended up, we kind of like dead-ended by this dead tree, and they had just had a wildfire a couple years in that area beforehand. So we were in an area, I wouldn't say desolate, but it was burnt.
Yeah.
The trees weren't sturdy by any means. And that actually played a big role in finding a spot to rescue us, because they couldn't tie in anywhere.
Yeah, right, yeah.
To go down to us. And so it dead ends, and we're like, really the only way up is a vertical climb, and we're not doing that. That's not happening. And then the only way down, which is kind of a little like where we had gotten to, we were doing more like, hands, knees, like up, and then we would go like up a trail a little bit, and then switch back, and then it would kind of be like rock, hands, knees, rock, and then switch back to the trail.
Were you getting nervous at this point?
I was. Gavin actually remained super calm throughout the whole thing, really. But I think he was trying to remain more calm for me, because I ended up hugging the tree that we were by, and I'm like, you're calling rescue. I'm not moving. This
is before you fell?
This was before I fell, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, because we had realized that it was way too slippery to get down the way we had just came.
Oh, man.
And I was like, I just held on to it. I was like, you know what? We're not experienced enough to want to get ourselves down in the middle of this. I'm not comfortable enough wanting to get
So
ourselves
you had
down.
reached a point where you're like, this is as far as we can go. I need to hold on to this tree because I'm freaking out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we had already talked about calling for rescue, because we were like, how are we going to get down? Like, it's way too slippery, because Gavin went to go try to like see, and I even went to go try, and it was just like, we put our one foot on that boulder, and it was pretty much slid out from under us in a way, so I wasn't going to turn my back and, try and make it down. And so I finally just hugged the tree and was like, you're calling rescue, we're calling rescue. I'm not going to go anywhere.
And you had a cell signal at this point?
We did. We had a cell signal the whole time, actually. And rescue actually said if we fell any further, the way we fell into a channel. And if we would have fell any further into that channel, we would have lost service.
Wow.
So we were like kind of right on that area. So we were lucky where we fell, where we were. Gavin called for rescue, and I don't know, did you listen to the podcast?
No, I didn't know. I didn't even know you had another podcast.
Okay,
I just read your story.
Oh, okay. So I did the Out Alive Backpacker. They actually pulled that first 911 call.
This is going to be Wesley with a transfer. I have 2 stranded individuals on Shadow Canyon. Is anyone hurt, or you just need help getting down?
No, nobody's hurt. We just need help getting down. We tried for a good hour to try to get up or down, and we can't.
Okay. And what is your name?
My name is Gavin Caruso.
Okay.
And
where did you start from?
Yeah, and then my friend's kind of having a panic attack, and now it's starting to get dark and it's raining, and we're at a very high elevation.
Where did you start
very
from?
Very dangerous position.
Okay. And are you dressed for the weather?
No, we're in short sleeves and shorts, and it's starting to get cold and it's raining.
What
and that's made like the rock really slippery, so like we can't get down.
And they're like, okay, well we're gonna send rescue out for you, which was Rocky Mountain Rescue Group, and they had actually started texting me, because we gave them our phone numbers for to contact us to help them find us, because all we had was our coordinates that we were at.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much it. I mean, we could yell and scream.
Yeah.
Where we were, flashlights weren't going to.
So it's dark at this point?
It is getting dark. Sun is somewhat setting. So that's also another reason why we were like, we need to call for rescue, because it's going to be dark by the time we get down here. I get a text from Rocky Mountain Rescue Group, and they had asked us if we could get to a lower elevation for them to find us easier. And we're kind of like,
you're like, I wouldn't have called you if I thought we could get... Yeah.
Kind of. Well, that's what we were thinking, but we're like, I mean, if that's what they're asking us to do...
Yeah.
I mean, we're like, we don't really feel like we should.
Yeah.
And then...
So you had a gut feeling like we should stay where we're at, but we're going to do what they're telling us to do kind of thing?
Well, yeah, because, I mean, we trust the experts. They're trying to rescue us. We're going to help them as much as we can. Like, if that's what they need, then I guess, that's what we're going to do. And so, like, 20 or 30 minute mark, we were like, we're losing.
Were you still hanging onto a tree at this point?
I told him I wasn't going to let go of the damn tree until rescue showed up.
Were you kind of at a point right there where, like, if you felt you let go of the tree, you were going to fall? Or were you just like, this is my safe zone
that
kind
was
of
just
thing?
That was just my safe. Like, I'm
right.
grounded. I'm here. Like, if I hold the tree's right here.
Right.
But the 30 minute mark, they didn't text us back. We didn't hear anybody. Like, we weren't seeing flashlights even down.
So you're like, they can't find us.
Yeah, we're like, they legit can't find us. They need us to get to the lower elevation to find us. So we tried to get, that's kind of where things went and took a turn. He positions himself and he's like, okay, I'm going to go first so that if we fall, I can catch you.
Oh, man. Okay.
And so I was like, all right. So I turned around, and he's right there, and I feel my foot slip out of, it was my right foot, I remember, slipped out off the rock. Whew, sorry.
It's all right.
Whew. And, damn. And we fell. I bounced around a couple times like a tennis ball. I remember hitting my head 5 times. Like when I was in the free fall, I was still awake and I knew what was going on. And so I covered my head. I was a skater. Like, I skated all throughout high school and stuff, so I kind of knew how to fall. All I was thinking of just protect the noggin and whatever else can be fixed. I felt myself hit my head, and that's kind of like when my body went limp, but I was still with it, so like I wasn't able to really come up and protect myself, and that was when I started bouncing around. I finally, like, I think I did end up losing consciousness. I don't remember losing consciousness. It's hard to ever say you lost consciousness, because you go to sleep and you come to and you're like, oh, what happened?
Right.
Just what happened? So, I kind of, it was like a movie in my mind. Like, when I woke up, like, I wake up and I've got blood just pouring down my face. I have a couple pictures. Like, I took a picture down when I was out in the mountain. Yeah. After rescue got to us. And just like this half of my face is just all bloody.
Oh man.
I'm actively bleeding. I'm trying to like quickly do an assessment. Like, okay, I can wiggle my toes. I'm obviously moving my hands. I'm good. Like, I'm okay for now. Whatever. Like, yeah, I hurt, but I'll figure it out. I look and I don't see Gavin.
Did you know that he had fallen with you?
Well, yeah. I knew he fell with me, or I thought he fell with me. I was hoping that he either tried to grab me and I just fell, or I don't really know.
So how did you both fall at the same time?
So where we were, we decided that it was kind of hard. So he turned himself to like kind of be on that vertical down to the next rock.
Okay.
And he was 6'2", I think, so he could actually step down, and I'm this little 5'3".
Yeah.
So mine's more of a
You're a little further down.
Mine more a little reach.
Yeah.
So he was behind me to like catch me if I did slip out, and I right before I fell, I feel him kind of like try to pin me up against the mountainside, and then we just he couldn't hold me. Gravity couldn't hold me anymore. We fell. So when I came to, I did my quick assessment. I realized I don't see Gavin. I see his shoe like 15 feet in front of me, maybe, if that. And I'm like, where's the rest of him?
Mm-hmm.
I turn around, and he's pretty much under me, behind me. Like, I had felt he's, like, laying here, and I'm, like, sitting. I'm sitting up at this point, so I'm sitting here. So he's just right behind me, out cold. And I'm, like, freaking out at this point. He had taken my phone and everything, so that I just had to deal with myself. No extra weight, no extra things like falling out of my pocket that I had to worry about while I was trying to make the maneuver down.
Yeah.
So I quickly had to get my phone out of his pocket to call 911 and be like, hey, we fell. Rescue wanted us to get to a lower elevation, and we fell.
911, what's the address of the emergency?
This is Jeffcom with a transfer. Hiker, we don't know where she is.
Okay, ma'am.
On Mesa Trail.
Ma'am, I need you to take a deep breath. We have a rescue team that's supposed to try to find us. Okay, they're on their way. They're looking for you right now, okay? But you need to stay home. No, my friend, he's unconscious. I'm bleeding. It's an emergency now. I'm bleeding. I'm going to die. Okay, what happened? We fell down the mountain.
He's out cold. I'm on the phone at this point, freaking out. I'm alone. It's getting dark. It's storming. I mean, lightning is hitting the ground. Like, I saw a couple lightning strikes hit the ground while waiting for rescue. So, and then probably about an hour into the call, after we fell, I should reiterate, is when it started to clear up. The storm was pushing through, and it was a rainbow came out and all that stuff. Gavin had started to come back to, I think, because I started like, I was like, wake up.
Yeah.
Like, you have to wake up. I can't carry you. And he kind of came to, and he started snoring, like having like the agonal snoring respirations. And I was on the phone with 911 at the time, and I'm telling them like, hey, he's hurt, I'm hurt. We need to, like, can you guys hurry? Like, where are you guys at?
I'm gonna bleed out. Where are you bleeding from? My head. Do you have... Gavin, you're okay. Stop moving, Gavin. Is he the one unconscious? Yeah. Okay, yeah. Is he unconscious, or is he understanding what you're saying right now? He's trying to move. He won't even respond to me. Gavin, you have to calm down. Gavin, you're gonna fall again. Stop.
Where you had fallen, are you in a worse place now for them to get to you?
I think actually the next day, when they talked to my mom, because my mom flew in that morning, they had met her to give a couple things, like give her my stuff because they had some things of mine. I think my hat and my glasses or something. They had something that they needed to meet somebody at the hospital to give it to him. My mom actually ran into him. She thanked him for the rescue and all that. And he said it was the hardest rescue, the most technical rescue they've had to do in 10 years.
Wow.
Do you see any markers to tell you where you're at? Is there anything that stands out?
I mean, I see the f***ing world. I see like a whole bunch of mountains. I see the windmill. We are literally on the face of a mountain.
So I think it took I was on the phone with dispatch for about 3 hours, I believe so, if I'm remembering right, because this happened back in 2020.
Yeah.
So I was on the phone with her. We never cut out. Like, it was never like, hey, can you hear me? Or, you hear me now? I was on the phone with her the whole time.
I want to call my mom. I want to tell her that I love her. His head's bleeding a lot, and I'm bleeding a lot. We're going to bleed out and die. Ma'am, we're going to die.
I need you to stop thinking like that, okay? They are on their way. They're going as fast as they can. I need you to take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. I want you to focus on doing that over and over again, okay? Deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. Can you rip his shirt and put it on his head to control the bleeding?
Okay, give me just a second. I'm going to try to put my phone down so I can rip off my shirt and put it on his head, okay?
Okay.
And about the 2-hour mark, I saw lights down at the trailhead. So they had gotten the ambulance and their cars as far as they could drive it. And I told her that, so I knew that they were on their way.
Yeah.
So they end up having to come up from the top to get to us easier. So I'm hearing, this is like 8 or 9 o'clock maybe, I think.
Yeah.
I'm hearing Rocky Mountain Rescue. If there's anybody out there, let me know. So I start yelling once I hear him yelling out for me. They finally realize, hey, that they see us.
This is the last home stretch. I promise. I see lights. I promise.
I asked dispatch. I was like, do you want to stay on the phone with me, like, till they get down here? Because that was originally the plan. Was we're gonna stay on the phone until rescue gets to you. And I was like, well, rescue knows where we are. Do you want me to like free you up? Because I don't want to tie you up or anything. You know, they know where we're at. I feel comfortable to get off the phone. She stayed on the phone with me until they ended up down by us.
Yeah.
And that was when I had my rescuer, Josh was his name. And I remember Josh and Paige. Those were the two kind of head honchos down by us that night. They didn't have extrication tools to do both of us at the same time. So it was going to be one, then the other. And I was actually on the phone with dispatch during the time they were searching for us. I'm telling them that we need a helicopter, like, and she's like, well, we have to wait till rescue gets there. They have to make that decision. I'm like, no.
You're like, I'm telling you, I need a helicopter.
I'm telling you right now that I need the helicopter. Like, he's going to need a helicopter. I might be fine, but he's going, like, somebody is going to need a helicopter out. I don't think you guys are going to be able to find us without the helicopter. They actually, before they even went to the summit, I should add, she had to release flight out to find us. Even they had to fly over us 3 times, I think.
Did you hear that?
I saw and heard. I had actually took my phone out and put my flashlight out and started waving it around.
Mm-hmm.
And they took them 3 passes, and I think I remember her saying they still can't find you. So, like, at this point, like, I'm like, oh, I told you we need a stupid helicopter.
Yeah, right.
he tried to see if we could get up, but I had been in a car accident 2 years prior and had a neck injury, and he didn't want to extricate me anymore with me standing up and walking just because of my prior spinal injury. So he radios up and is like, yeah, they both need to be extracted. But they were like, hey, we're going to work with him first because he's in the worst shape. And I knew that. And like, he was like, it's going to be a while until you get out of here.
Oh, man.
So I think I think they said 15 hours, 15-hour rescue, 250 volunteer hours.
Oh, my gosh.
Put in that night to get us both out. I didn't end up in the ER till 5 in the morning, 4 or 5 in the morning.
How did they get you out?
They did a vacuum splint, and then what they did was litter us up the vertical, because they had to go, I think I heard him say they had to go 200 feet vertically to get us up to a point, and then
What is a vacuum splint? I don't know what that is.
So it's kind of like a coffin in a way, but they put it under you, around you, and then it's like filled up with air, and then they take the air out, and you're like sucked in and stuck. So, and then you know what a litter is, right?
No.
The backboard, but it's got it's more of a box.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So they're able to tie things to it, hoist it up easier than a regular backboard or a stretcher would. I remember him saying that they had to do about a 200-foot vertical uphaul of us, where then they had to walk another mile or so to go 100 feet vertically again, and then I think it was a mile and a half again to where the helicopter could land.
Oh man.
And I mean, it took 2 times longer than it should have because they couldn't find a place to tie in, like I said, because of the forest fire that happened a few years before. It's also a big thing. Make sure you burn your embers out and all that.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if it would have changed the outcome, but if they could have had an easier tie-in spot, who knows? He could be next to me now telling the story too. I don't really know for sure, but I remember they finally had gotten him up after a few hours. Right before they took him up, one of the rescuers was like, "Hey, can you talk to him, like calm him down a little bit?" And I think that was their way of telling me, "Hey, you might want to just say goodbye." Like, I didn't really think about it being that, but now as a first responder, that's kind of the way I would word it if I ever came into a situation like that.
Yeah. Tell everybody real quick about your job. What do you do now?
Yeah, I'm an EMT,
Okay.
full-time right now. I'm actually testing in to try to get into paramedic school. I want to end up being a flight medic out of all this. So I want to be up in the helicopter saving the people that I was.
Was that sparked out of this?
Yeah, actually. Because I was working at Vans, the shoe store, before all this.
Yeah.
Not really knowing. I was 19. Didn't know what I wanted to do. So that did actually spark what I wanted to do, and I've been pursuing that pretty much ever since I got medically cleared to do work back to normal 100%. So I saw the helicopter hit. I told him, "Hey Gavin, they're rescue. They're here to help us. Like, because he doesn't really like hospitals and stuff like that. So whenever he's hurt or anything, there are a couple, like, when we got into the car accident, he refused medical treatment.
Oh, wow.
And ended up finding out his back was broken.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so we got into the car accident together, by the way. A couple years before.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, hey, Gavin, like, they're here to help us. We need the help. They need to get us out. And I told him, I go, hey, Gavin, and the only time he actually was kind of like lucid, he like turns up. My nickname is Corn. All my friends call me Corn. I don't know. I don't really know why. I grew up in Indiana, I guess.
There it is. Yeah.
So I was like, hey, Gavin, and he actually sits up and turns around and looks at me and goes, what, Corn? And I go, I love you, buddy. And he goes, I love you too, Corn. And that was that's the last thing we ever said to each other.
Oh, wow.
Those were his last words. Unless he said something to people up in the rescue. But from what I know, they got him up the 200-foot haul. And he coded. They got him back. Jesus. And they were able to make it through that mile hike. And he coded again. Sorry.
No, you're good. You take a break?
Yeah, just need a second.
Okay.
Whew.
Do you want to grab some tissues or something like that?
Yeah,
that might
please. Back to, where the hard part when I had to take the little break was he made it the mile and a half and then coded again. And I only know this because they had given us the report. The flight medic gave us the run report. So the narrative was in there of what happened with him, because at that point it's a together call for them, I think.
Yeah.
And so the stuff they had intubated him, worked him, and they called it in the helicopter.
Wow.
I didn't know. So a little fun fact, when people have head injuries, sometimes they get into a little brain loop where they constantly ask the same things over and over again, whether or not they just got the question answered to them. My loop was, has anybody called my mom? Can I call my mom? Is Gavin okay? And it was just constantly, is Gavin okay? Did somebody call my mom? Okay. Is Gavin okay though? How's Gavin? What's Gavin? And every time was, he's in good hands, stuff like that. I get to the hospital because they finally extracted me the same way they did with him, the litter, up haul, walk, helicopter. When I was with the flight medic, he's like, hey, it's going to be about a 10-minute flight over to St. Anthony's in Lakewood. I get to the hospital. They tell me, oh, you're at St. Anthony's. Anybody you want us to call? And so I was like, yes, call my mom. How's Gavin?
Yeah.
They still didn't tell me that. I think.
What answer were they giving you? Do you remember?
At the hospital was, let's figure out what's going on with you first.
Yeah, they didn't want you to. Wow.
So I had called my mom. They had called my mom. So it would have been 5 in the morning, I think. 5, 6 in the morning over here, because they're an hour behind over in Colorado. And so my mom gets a call 4 or 5 in the morning. She's like, hey, this is Brandy from St. Anthony's ER in Lakewood, Colorado. We have your daughter here. So she had asked to talk to me, and Brandy came in and gave me the phone. She's like, what happened? I'm like, we fell down a mountain. Gavin's unresponsive right now. I don't know what's going on with him. And my mom was like, we're getting on the first flight. I'm getting on the first flight out of there. And, like, that was when I was like, oh, I have to go. They want to take me over to MRI, so I'll call you later when I know anything more. I go to my MRI. They do all their imaging. I come back, and that's when my ER doctor comes back in. And she goes, okay, so I have some good news and bad news. And I'm like, okay. She's like, good news is, you only broke your C7, your spinous process in your C7. You broke your first rib, and we're gonna need to stitch your head up. And she goes, now the bad news, your companion you were hiking with, and she didn't even need to say it. I knew then and there. I mean, I knew deep in my gut that he was gone, but I was trying to keep myself hopeful and in denial until I heard the word about it, or saw it myself. And that's when she said, he didn't make it. And I look at my nurse, I look at my ER doc, and I go, can I be alone? And they kind of look at each other, super stunned, like, I guess. I'm like, leave me alone. Like, let me take this in. So they left me all for 5 minutes, I would have to say. Rightfully so, worried.
Sure.
You know, they just broke that news to me.
Yeah, what's this girl gonna do?
Yeah, and I just told them to leave the room. Like, I do have trauma from it. You know, like, go get the therapy. Like, it's not something to be taken lightly. Like, I essentially held my best friend while he died. So, I go to therapy. It's EMDR is what it's called. So it's kind of, they put you back where everything happened in a way, but it's like a safe setting. So there's been a couple of sessions where we've mimicked thunderstorms.
Oh man, do you think of it now when you hear thunderstorms?
Yeah, I do. It's taken a couple years and a lot of work with my therapist to be okay now, but there were a few storms that rolled through when I got home. So I was in St. Anthony's Hospital for about 4 or 5 days. And I'm surprised I was there for such a short time, but at the same time, I had told everybody, I was like, hey, if I'm not out by his funeral, I'm leaving AMA. Like, I'm going to be at his funeral.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to say bye to him out in the mountain, but the coroner had already taken him down to the morgue. So when I'd asked the ER, I was like, can I see him? And, you know, now being, like, knowing as a medical, like, a professional, especially, like, kids and stuff, parents will be like, let me see their kid. Like, let me see my kid. And you should let them see. Like, I at least was trained to let that happen. So, and I didn't know that prior, but I asked. So when I learned that, I'm like, hey, people do ask. Like, I asked to see him.
Sure.
They came back and they're like, yeah, unfortunately it was too late. Cause I was like, I don't know if it was too, I told him, I was like, can you like wheel me to him? Like, just so I can say bye. Like, if it's not too late, if they haven't taken him anywhere. But it was too late. And so my mom came walking in the next day, and I'm like, hey, Mom, I already told my doc that I'm going to leave AMA if I'm not out by the funeral. And she's like, I mean, you're 19. I can't I can't really force you. But the docs, the team was really adamant. They knew. I told them, and they kind of like chuckled, and they're like, oh, no worries. We'll make sure it works out. Like, so I stayed there for a few days. PT, OT, speech therapy came just to double check, make sure no screws were still a little loose.
Right.
Everybody's got screws loose, still got screws loose, but making sure they weren't any more loose than before. I always have to say thank you to Vans, though, because on the way to Gavin's funeral, I get a call from California, and I'm like, oh, hey. And he goes, hey, this is Steve Van Doren, the owner of Van's Shoe Company. And he's like, I heard you fell and you lost a really close friend of yours. I'm sorry to hear that, and I hope you're doing okay. I'm going to send you a care package to your store that you work at. Just kind of like up my mood and all that stuff. I had actually...
That's super cool.
The week I came back, I made my mom take me to my store to go show proof of life. Because they all knew something happened. Right. And they all wanted
I'm not making this up.
Well, no, I mean, they all wanted to see me. They all wanted to make sure I was okay and proof of life, like, type. So I was like, hey, guys, I'm home. I'll be back soon, I promise. I miss you guys. Love you guys. So Steve on the phone had said to me, he's like, we really, like, take pride in the fact that we all include ourselves as a family, and you showing up the week you came back, like, really shows that, like, peace in you. So he, like, thanked me for that. And just kind of being the role model, like a role model in a way for that. And then I think 2 weeks later, I get a whole box full of van stuff. And I mean, like, this box is shipment box size. Like, we just got a whole box of shoes size box. Like,
that's super. I almost wore my Vans sweatshirt today. I did. I was like,
I'm in my Vans.
Yeah.
I'm in my Vans stuff today. I actually made custom shoes of one of the pictures that Rocky Mountain Rescue Group got, and I'm wearing them on my feet today.
That's awesome. What did you bring with you?
So I actually brought the shirt that I fell in. This is what I took off.
Wow.
My head. You want me to turn it this way? I don't know. Good. All right. So this is the shirt that I took. I fell in it. You can actually, if you look hard enough, you can see the way I fell.
Oh, man.
And then it's still tied. It's still got wrinkles from where I wrapped him up and tied it around my head like I'm in Survivor.
Right.
So we got that all dirty and muddy and bloody, I should say. And then I have his backpack.
Oh my gosh.
This is the bright green backpack. And the family members and friends that are watching, they're all going to roll their eyes at this one. Especially his mom, because his mom was like, oh, there's that green backpack. But yeah, he fell with this, so the wear and tears from the fall, like, there's stuff in here. I left some of his stuff in here. While I know he's not coming back, but, like, I still got the, like...
Yeah. What's the outdoor life for you now? What's it like?
So my boyfriend now he's way more into camping and outdoor stuff. And we go fly fishing once a year. We've got a backpacking trip. We're planning to do the Ice Age Trail this summer. Part of it.
Yeah.
We're going to do a short little 8-mile stretch, I think. 16 altogether or something like that. I have to look at our plan again. Planning that. bucket list of mine is going on the Appalachian Trail. I would love to do the Grand Canyon, not in the winter though.
Yeah, no, don't do it in the winter. Don't do it in the winter. I don't recommend it at all.
At least 2 years after we fell, because I think we're coming up on the 4-year mark now. Wow, time flies.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it would be next month, be the 4-year. I actually went back. I think it was around the 2-year mark, a little bit later. I wouldn't have wanted to go during the anniversary. One of my close family friends, pretty much sisters growing up, they lived down the street. She got stationed in Fort Collins. We were down in Colorado Springs. And I made an impromptu trip to go and see her, and hang out with her for a week. And I don't know why I did it this way now that I think about it, but the last day, we went and I redid the hike.
Oh man!
And we made it to the top, and that was probably the most rewarding hike for me, and probably will always be, just because once I got to the summit, the top, the end of the trail, I kind of like looked up and was like, I take this backpack too, so like if I'm going on a trip, not a backpacking trip, but just a regular trip, this is my personal, this is my carry-on. I'll take my work stuff out of it, put whatever I need in there. So like I looked at him, I hugged the backpack, was just kind of like, we finally made it, buddy. So that one's probably the most rewarding and I would say healing part of the journey, is the finally making it up there and to the point where we wanted to sit and enjoy the view and take in the world. I mean, I have the picture. I can send. I'll give you guys the picture for it. But there's the picture of me on top. Like, I've got my arms spread. Like, I look like I've accomplished.
Mount Everest.
It looks like I accomplished Mount Everest, but I just did an 8-mile in and out. Like, so yeah, that was pretty healing in its own way. So yeah, I mean, my parents also, they got me a compass that I also bring around everywhere. So all my travels that I've been to since then.
Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah,
I like that.
I take the compass.
That's super cool.
Show it to the camera. Yeah, it's got. It just says, "In memory of Gavin, your forever hero," because I blame every day that I have now. Not blame, but I give every day that I have now to him. I mean, he said, "I'll catch you if we fall," and that's what he did. Yeah. I'll take a picture. I got a tattoo, a memorial tattoo for him. I don't know if you can. I'm trying to show it here for you. It says "Forever my hero." It's a compass. The heading is east because we fell facing east. And this picture is actually one of the pictures from the trailhead. So right before we started, like, we had just started the summit.
Oh, wow.
So this is Bear Peak. I fell down this mountain. And then I made the sun setting behind the mountains because
what's the signature?
That's his signature.
Oh, wow.
So I put his signature as kind of like he's signing off for the rest of my life, you know? Like, here's the extra life. You're welcome. My hero, in a way.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing your story. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man, for sure. Because I think there's people that not only have been through something similar, but also can now be better prepared when they go out too.
Yeah,
so
thank
you're
you
awesome,
very much.
man. Crazy story. Glad you're here to tell the story.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm here to tell the story too.
Yes,
wish it was under
better.
Too.
Yeah, under better circumstances for sure. But
oh yeah, but I appreciate you having me on. It was really cool. Really exciting.
Cool.
Yeah, love telling my story.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
YouTube is a rabbit hole of information. So in order to solve that problem, I wrote a backpacking course where I took my 10 years of backpacking experience and the 400 YouTube videos that I filmed and condensed it down into just 18 videos and a few lessons for you to learn. All you have to do is go to my brand new website, danbeckeroutdoors.com, and look for the course.